buffet they have in the other room there.
David's second plate.
Here we go.
You both know David, don't you?
Yes, we met earlier.
Hey, you're not eating, Robert?
Well, I had something at home.
He's lying. He hasn't had anything all night.
David, look, what's the time? My watch doesn't seem to be working right. Well, let me see. I have 9:31 chronometer time.
Say, Robert, you're acting as if this evening is going to end in 10 minutes.
It might. I'm expecting a rather important call.
Sounds like our police commissioner is working tonight.
Overtime. Boy, overtime. I know that one. You know, there are times when I wish the batteries on my beeper would just die.
Why don't you just leave it at home?
Well, that would be just slightly unethical, I think.
How about a dance? Would that be considered unethical?
With the beautiful nurse? No, no, no.
Oh, well, in that case, excuse us.
Go right ahead.
We'll watch your face.
Thank you.
That dance sounds like fun.
I'm not very good.
I don't believe you.
Really? Ask anyone. Hey.
Hey, Blackie?
Yep.
Is it true Robert's a lousy dancer?
I don't know. No dance with him. Where's Tip at?
Powder room.
Powder room. She went to the powder room 10 minutes ago.
Then I don't know.
I'm going to dance with her. Well, try Holly.
I mean, she's in the mood, and my Australian crawl might just put her off.
Would you like to dance?
I would be delighted. Don't go anywhere. Leaving so soon, Robert?
Well, no, I actually intended to use your phone, if that's all right. Edward, I was wondering, could you bring Lila by the house tomorrow? Shall we say 11? Damn it. Line's out. Excuse me. Has anybody seen Holly?
Yes. Wasn't she dancing with Blackie?
Not anymore.
Well, why don't you try the dining room, or maybe she went upstairs.
Well, thank you, I will.
Commissioner, moment of your time, please.
I'm in a sort of a hurry.
Well, Scotty's out on bail, and I thought you'd like to know. The judge, well, he had a different point of view.
Right at this moment, Lee, your son is about the last thing on my mind. Excuse me.
Robert? So tell me, has the big moment arrived?
I don't know what you mean.
The announcement.
Really? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, it's the only reason why Ian and I came, Commissioner, to hear you announce the mystery witness. That is why you're here, isn't it?
Oh, excuse me.
I haven't seen your husband around.
Oh, he's here somewhere. Would you like me to tell him you're looking for him?
No. I was just wondering. I was hoping he was having a good time.
Well, I'm sure you'll see him before the night is out. He did say he had some kind of an announcement to make before the festivities are over.
Oh, really? He didn't by any chance say what that announcement was going to be, did he?
No, he didn't say, but I think it has something to do with the murder.
Is he? Well,
Excuse me? Of course.
Save me, Holly.
Well, what's wrong?
Every time I turn around, that Jimmy Lee is there.
What do you want me to do?
Just protect me from boredom until Grant gets here.
Well, I don't know how effective I'm going to be.
You're about to find out.
How come every time I turn around, you disappear?
Maybe you should take it as a hint.
Come on, I'm just trying to be friendly. After all, we are relatives.
Listen, Jimmy, I know this is a big night for you, but maybe you shouldn't spend it all with one person.
No, now that you mention it, that's exactly how I want to spend it.
Why don't we let these two be alone, Mrs. Scorpio? I've always wanted to dance with a cop's wife anyway.
That would be very nice, but I don't think...
Never danced with an English lady before either. You doing anything different over there?
Please! Drop the knife, Tolliver! The knife! Now, I wasn't going to hurt her.
Sure you would.
We got it on tape, sir. The whole confession.
Good work. Cuff him.
This won't stand up in court.
Oh, yeah? How does two witnesses against your testimony?
So
That was your stand-up in court.
Why wait until now? You had Heather. Wasn't she enough?
Because she never saw anything.
I was in the closet, but I was too scared to look.
And we needed your testimony about the drunk.
A trap.
You trapped yourself, Tolliver.
With a little help from her.
Yeah, I guess.
You know what this means, don't you?
I'm off the hook.
You and Scotty both.
Oh, thank God, it's all over.
I've checked everywhere and he's not here.
You'll be back?
When?
I really don't know.
You mean he just walked out and left you?
I said he'll be back.
You know what I think? All this talk about a mystery witness was just a bluff. He never had one and he never will.
Robert doesn't bluff.
He's backed into a corner, he does, which is exactly where he is right now.
So leave.
I intend to.
It's a shame, though. You'll have to miss the announcement.
How can he make an announcement if he's not here? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. He's coming back. You told me that.
Yes, but if I were you, I would stick around and get the scoop.
Still dead.
They're out all over town, sir.
Where's your motorcycle?
Under the awning out back.
Okay, get out there and call headquarters. Tell them I want a squad car here on the double.
Right away, sir.
Well, we might as well relax. It'll be at least 10 minutes.
May I sit down?
Just go ahead.
Do you want a drink or anything?
No, I'm okay. You go ahead.
That's all right. I'm fine, too.
Heather, I want to thank you for what you did here tonight. Also for the help you've given me in the last few days.
Well, I'd like to say I did it out of my great sense of duty, but we both know that's not true.
You love Scotty a lot, don't you?
Enough to know he was innocent.
There wasn't a time you ever doubted that, maybe just for a moment.
Well, even if there was, it doesn't matter now.
Let's have that drink after all.
Sorry, Jimmy. There's a surprise for me, and it was nice chatting with you, Jimmy Lee. Hello.
God, I'm so sorry.
Don't they make a wonderful couple?
Couple.
Yes, they're engaged. Isn't it fantastic?
Terrific.
What's the meaning of this?
There's a party going on here.
You can't come barging in here with the police like that.
The hell I can't.
Scorpio, this is private property. Where's your warrant?
I have reason to believe there's a murderer in this house. Now get out of my way and you guys follow me.
Just a minute.
Lie down, quick. All right, just a second. Everybody back. This is official police business. Let's clear a path. Excuse me. Please, please.
He's great. Get him on the couch.
Wait, just a minute. Oh, put him down. Oh, easy. I got him. You got him, Rick.
What is it, Rick? What is it?
I do, sir. He's been shot.
I'll call the ambulance. Excuse me. Excuse me.
They weren't working a while ago.
Well, it is now. Who is he?
A man named Tolliver.
This is Dr. Hardy. Need an ambulance at number 66 Harborview Road. An alert OR. It's a gunshot victim. Police are already on the scene.
What is going on here, Commissioner?
No comment.
Who shot him?
The man was shot while attempting to flee the scene of a crime.
Well, do we get a name?
Crane Tolliver.
What did he do?
If he lives, he'll be arrested for murder.
Susan Moore's, I'll take it.
You'll get my press statement tomorrow.
Robert, is there anything we can do?
Yeah, look, you can help me clear this whole place out.
Right.
Excuse me, everybody. I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Right away, please.
Ladies and gentlemen.
How long for the ambulance?
I'm afraid it's going to take a while. Flooding is still around. The hospital power lines are down. It's a mess.
What about the rest of us?
Most of the problems are in the hospital area. The rest of you shouldn't have too much trouble if you stay on the surface streets.
You sure there's nothing we can do, Robert?
Just leave and give us some room.
Okay, we're out of here. Come on.
Excuse me, Commissioner. Is it true what everybody's saying the man in there is Susan's murderer?
That's right.
You absolutely sure?
I've been sure for several days. Tonight I got the proof.
Well, yet you haven't let Scotty go.
I had to. He was all part of the plan, a plan which would have worked a whole lot better if he'd have stayed in jail instead of getting out on bail.
What's that all about?
You better talk to Scotty about that. He's at Susan's cottage with Heather. I imagine they're probably having quite a chat.
Does that man's condition in there have anything to do with Scotty and Heather?
Again, you'll have to talk to him about that. Excuse me, I'm probably needed in the next room.
Brian, can you hear me?
Robert, stop that, please.
He might have relevant information.
He is not going to be saying anything for quite some time.
Pulse.
Weak.
Is he going to make it?
We'll do our best. Mark, give me a hand with this jacket.
I'll take that.
This?
Yes, the coat. Police evidence.
Oh, yes, of course, Commissioner. I was just trying to be helpful.
Good, then please stay out of the way.
I don't mean to be rude, but you know this is my house.
Which has been temporarily requisitioned at this point in time. Now, we'll give it back to you when we've finished. Oh, Jimmy Lee. 1 second.
Well, I was wondering how long it'd be before you got to me.
Did you say anything?
When?
When you found him. You couldn't have gotten him in here by yourself. He had to be conscious.
Just barely. He was too weak to say anything.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. He was hurt. He real bad. He didn't say anything.
Where were you going?
I was just going to see if I had something I could dry off with.
Could you just hold on that a second? I'd like you to take one of my officers back to the spot that you found him and then retrace your steps. He may have dropped something.
Like what?
I'll know when I find it. Officer?
Yes, sir.
Could you take this gentleman back to the spot that he found the suspect and do a search of the area from there back to here? Do you reckon you can retrace your steps exactly?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be too much trouble.
Good, then you better go now before the rain gets too heavy.
Yes, sir. Listen, if he dropped some, would have found it.
We started down near the river. We worked line, tree line for a while and then fanned out through the bushes.
Mm-hmm. We even saw the footprints where he went across the mud to get to me.
Still, we couldn't find anything.
Nothing between the bushes and the house.
We retraced our steps exactly.
Through the bushes, up across the lawn, into the patio, nothing.
Maybe if we knew what you were looking for, I don't know.
When I find it.
You must have known something about this. Well, I knew something was going to happen, but I wasn't ready for anything this exciting.
It's quite a husband you have there. Certainly full of surprises.
He handles himself well, too. I like a man who gets things done his own way. He not only has the situation under control, he's under control.
Oh, we are talking about Robert, aren't we?
I'm sorry, who?
You were talking about Robert?
Why, yes, of course. But you must tell me more about Jimmy Lee. How does he fit into all this?
You'll have to ask him yourself.
I just might.
Where's that ambulance?
Stalled in deep water. They're sending another.
Great.
Is he going to be all right, Dr. Weber?
Lila, he's resting comfortably.
Robert, I know this is an unusual request, but could I have a word with him? It's been 40 years, you know, and I think a moment or two alone together, it would mean everything, and I think it would do us both some good.
Rick?
As long as she doesn't upset him.
Okay, love. 2 minutes. No more.
Thank you, Robert. Maggie, back to the living room, please.
Well, what in the hell are you doing here?
Oh, come on, Commissioner. You set somebody up. Certainly they're entitled to see the outcome.
You are not seeing anyone.
You mean I don't get to meet the guy who sent me to jail for the last 2 weeks? Don't worry, I don't want to finish him off. I just want to shake his hand.
Baldwin, I really don't have time for you.
That's funny, because that's all you had from me while I was in jail. I want to talk to... No, in fact, I demand to talk to this guy, Scorpio.
Talk to Heather. She has the whole story.
Yeah, well, I find it hard to believe that our police commissioner would subject an innocent girl to a homicidal maniac.
You're referring to the setup, of course.
Yeah, where do you get off endangering her life like that?
Scott.
No one forced her.
That's not the way I heard it.
I volunteered, Scotty.
That's because he threatened you.
No one threatened anyone. I needed help, and Heather was the logical candidate.
You handled this in an unethical manner, and if I wanted to pursue it, you could find yourself in big trouble.
Now who's making threats?
Well, police commissioners have lost their jobs for a lot less than that.
Does this police commissioner look particularly worried?
Well, you ought to worry about it. You ought to be thinking about suffering the consequences here.
Were you prepared to suffer the consequences if I hadn't gone through with it?
Me?
You needed Tolliver's confession at damn sight more than I did. Not only did that prove him guilty, it also proved you innocent.
Yeah, but you knew I was innocent right from the beginning, didn't you?
Yeah, that wouldn't have stopped me from holding you till I'd got my man.
I love the way you run the department. You know, first thing I thought that you just threw the book out. Now I don't think you ever read it.
Come on, Scotty, let's just leave. Look, you're out of jail, and the murderer's been caught.
Yes, for which I am truly grateful to Heather.
I bet you are.
Get out of here, you lying tramp.
You don't know the whole story.
I know enough.
Do you know that it was Heather that helped me trap Tolliver?
Heather doesn't do anything except if it's going to help her hide.
Perhaps, but in the sordid process, she saved a few others, namely yours, Edwards, and Allen's.
I don't care. I want her out of here, and I want her to take you with her.
But we're going, Monica. Don't worry about that. First, I want Scorpio to tell me what's going to happen to this Tolliver guy.
Well, if it interests you, first you'll be taken to hospital and then charged. Of course, if he requests a lawyer, I'll throw up your name.
Well, thank you, but there's a conflict of interest there.
Which is?
I want to see this guy burn just as much as you do, Scorpio. We'll see you around. Thank you for the hospitality. Do it again sometime.
No, you won't.
Come on, Scotty.
She was a big help to me.
I don't know how much longer we can wait.
Moving him ourselves is totally out of the question. That bullet is lodged next to a vital organ.
Oh.
Lie still. Just lie still.
Lila,
She's not here.
I won't ever tell her that.
We will, but you lie still. Just relax. No. Soft. Easily.
I was prepared for something, but I didn't expect anything like this.
Neither did I.
What happened?
We trapped him into a confession at Susan's, but Scotty surprised me and Tolliver got away.
You're the one who shot him?
Yeah.
You didn't have any choice.
Oh, I suppose not. If this damn storm hadn't come along, I'd have had him in jail by now instead of lying there bleeding to death.
You caught him. That's what counts.
Yeah, well, I suppose you're right. There's still a few missing pieces.
What?
Something which is making the Quartermains act very suspiciously.
Can you handle it from here? Sure. Why don't you go off, Mark?
You mind if I ride in the ambulance?
Robert, there isn't room or the need. He's going to be in OR half the night. The other half the night, he'll be in recovery. I'll keep you posted.
You got my number?
Sure. He's conscious tomorrow, and you can ask him all the questions you want to.
I would like to post a guard outside his door.
Well, that's fine.
We're ready to roll, Doctor.
All right, I'm on my way.
Thank you, Rick.
I'll call you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ready to go?
Yes, love. I'd just like to say good night to the Quartermains first. Most sorry to have busted up your party.
Yeah, it's quite all right. We understand how these things happen.
And actually, it was rather exciting. Don't you think?
Oh, yes, it was very exciting.
Well, at least you have your murder.
Yes, now you can move on to more important cases and things.
After I've wrapped up all the details on this one.
Well, you've got your killer. What more do you want?
A few answers to a few nagging questions. Ready, Holly?
Yes, of course. Good night, all, and thank you.
Don't mention it. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Oh, well,
Move
once
it.
again, I'm most sorry. Yes, Ramsey, please.
Yeah, Ramsey here.
What's the news on Tolliver?
Oh, Robert, well, they're getting ready to operate.
How's it look?
Chancy.
Look, there's nothing more you can do there now. I'd like you to check out the construction trailer down at the university.
I gather that you didn't find what you were looking for?
You gathered right, no papers.
Okay, I'll get right on it.
Listen, don't let Holt see you.
Oh, don't worry, he won't. What's your next move?
I want to have a talk with Tolliver. Faced with surgery and his condition, he may just want to come clean.
Robert, we're just going to surgery.
Yeah, I know. I need to talk to Tolliver before you do.
Well, we're prepping him now, but he's going to be out of it any minute.
In that case, it's important I talk to him right now.
Rick is the
It just gave me permission.
Oh, well, in that case, go ahead.
Crane, it's Commissioner Scorpio. Look, you're going in for some heavy-duty surgery. Put everybody out of their misery and tell me where those papers are. You can't blackmail the Quartermains anymore. The money's going to be no good to you in prison. The papers are worthless. Tell me where they are or who has them.
The Quartermain money can even buy the police commissioner.
Nobody buys me.
You expect me just to hand over those papers so you can cover it all up for 'em? Not on your life.
Crane, listen to me, will you?
We're ready
Robert.
for you, Doctor.
I'm sorry, you'll have to leave.
They said upstairs you wanted to see me.
Yes, it's about Tolliver.
More specifically, the papers.
Well, I'm sure you can understand the family's concern about them.
Yeah, well, if you'd let the police in on this right from the start, you'd have nothing to be concerned about.
Well, that's water under the bridge now. Have you seen Tolliver?
Yes, I just spoke to him. I thought with the imminent prospect of surgery, he may be a little more talkative, but he wasn't.
So we still don't know what he's done about the papers.
Well, I'm doing all I can to find them.
Well, what happens in the meantime? The reporters are chomping at the bit for a motive.
All we're telling them is that Tolliver and Susan had some sort of extortion plot, there was a falling out, and he shot her.
They want facts, details.
They're going to have to settle for that for the moment. As far as they're concerned, the police are looking into it.
Why not tell them it was a robbery? You know, Tolliver was burglarizing the place. Susan happened to be there, and he shot her. Why mention blackmail at all?
Edward, I'm treading a rather fine line as it is. Now, if they discover I'm holding out on them, they're going to hound me right out of a job.
Look, I can appreciate what you're doing, but...
Look, if this makes any difference, if Tolliver survives and stands trial, it's all going to hit the fan anyway.
But that's not the point. I don't want those reporters airing our dirty linen any sooner than necessary. All this is hard enough on Lila as it is.
I'm going to find those papers. Now, when I do, they're yours. I've got enough proof to convict him.
Well, then why mention extortion at all?
Because, like Everest, it's there. And the best way to deal with this is to let it all come out in the open and then just hope for the best. Now, excuse me, I've got work to do.
Hey, aren't you the bright young man?
Yes.
Right there.
See anything you like, Captain?
No, not yet. What's going on, Robert?
Where's Jimmy Lee?
Hey, wait. He asked a question first.
Never mind about that. This is my friend, the police commissioner, sweetheart. I don't know. I think he's over at the center working or something.
Thank you.
Yes.
Nice meeting you.
Shall we?
What are you doing?
Huh?
You're in the middle of something?
No, nothing. Can't wait. What can I do for you, Commissioner?
Oh, just a little chat?
Sure.
Why don't we sit over here?
If it's something to do about last night, I already talked to an officer.
It's what happened before last night that I'm most interested in.
I don't get you. What do you mean?
We're of the opinion that Tolliver was working with someone. All indicators seem to point to you.
Oh, come on. You gotta be kidding.
Tolliver was blackmailing the Quartermains. Makes sense to me that he'd want you in on it.
It might make sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to me.
You had a grudge against him, so did he.
So what? I got other ways of dealing with people than blackmail.
You were seen at Susan's. What were you doing there?
I went to Susan. She called me. She invited me over because she knew who I was. Thought maybe I'd like to get back at the Quartermains. But when she told me what she wanted, I said, pass.
Why didn't you tell the police?
First of all, it wasn't any of my business. And second of all, it was just words. I didn't know anything was going to come of it.
Well, maybe Tolliver could have told you.
What? That's pretty good. since I didn't know Tolliver then.
You were in jail the same night that Susan was killed. The same night that he had somebody impersonate him just to get thrown into the drunk tank.
So?
So, if you had a suspicious nature like me, you might be thinking that you helped him pull off this little charade.
I don't have a suspicious nature like you. And I don't associate with people like Tolliver.
You gave him a job.
So what? He was an old man. He came here, needed work, that's all. And yes, he did ask me about the Quartermains. But he knew that I wanted nothing from the Quartermains except the recognition of who I was, Edward's son.
In that case, you tell me, why did he drag himself all the way from Susan's with a bullet in him, all the way to the Quartermains, just to see you?
He didn't just come to see me. I happened to be outside. I saw him, he was bleeding, so I helped him. What was I supposed to do, leave him there bleeding?
Okay. So, you weren't working with him and you hardly knew him.
That's right.
In that case, why did he give you the papers?
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, okay?
If you were at Susan's, you knew about those papers.
Yeah, I knew about the papers, but I've never seen them.
Then why did Tolliver give them to you?
He didn't.
Come on.
Look.
You'd have had the Quartermains right where you wanted them.
Look, Scorpio, I don't have the papers. If you don't believe me, why don't you search me, okay? Go ahead. Go ahead, search me, man.
You'd hardly be carrying them on you. No, just in case.
You know, if I wanted to get at the Quartermains, if I wanted any money from them, why didn't I just do it when I first got into town, huh? Well, I didn't. And if you don't believe me, just ask them.
I'm going to find those papers.
I hope you do.
Amy, Robert Scorpio is due here any minute. When he arrives, would you please tell him to come to the cafeteria?
He's here.
Oh.
How's Tolliver?
Well, here's Rick now. He can tell you about him. He wants to know about Tolliver.
Very guarded, grave condition.
Can I talk to him?
Robert, he's very weak. He needs a rest. As soon as he wakes up, fine. In the meantime, I think Alan Quartermain has something he'd like to ask you.
I'd like to talk to you over there, please.
Dr. Thompson to ICU staff. Dr. Thompson to ICU staff.
Okay, what's on your mind? I'd like permission to talk to Tolliver.
He doesn't have any objection medically. Now, if I talk to him, I'm not going to alarm him. I'm not going to hurt him or anything.
Please, please allow it.
You want to talk about the papers, don't you?
Well, we want to give it one last try, yes.
I'd like to know where those papers are myself. He has a 50-50 chance, doesn't he?
According to Rick, he does.
Well, whether he lives or dies, Robert, those papers are going to be around to haunt us.
Look, I'd like to know that your family is safe, too. Now, if Tolliver dies, they could be. On the other hand, if Tolliver lives, it's all going to come out, papers or no papers.
Let us give it a try, please.
Come on.
Doctor.
Robert, 2 minutes, that's all.
Right.
Thanks.
Crane?
Commissioner,
Tell me you're hurt real bad.
funny coincidence.
Shouldn't have tried to run.
Have to.
Crane, what's happened to those papers?
Sorry.
The divorce papers, the ones you're blackmailing the Quartermains with.
Too bad, no.
Listen, Tolliver, you're hurt bad. You may die. Let me have those papers. There's no reason to go on hurting them now.
Hurt me?
I was the one that pulled the trigger.
Forget it, Commissioner.
Making
I
a-
got nothing to say. Nothing.
You're making a big mistake.
What are you gonna do? Threaten me? Too late, Commissioner. Way too late.
Sleeping. When he wakes up, you can let the others in. At your discretion, of course.
He give you any help?
None at all. See you around. almost there.
Oh, Fiddly Dip, you haven't said anything.
You're a class act, kid.
Well, now you know why I never ordered to stuff that on a date. These chopsticks kill me every time.
I will never tell.
Well, if you do, it'll be the last time I bring you Chinese food.
I've got to thank you. Today of all days, I really needed some cheering up. Great.
Oh, you mean to tell me the murder was not enough for you?
A few unanswered questions.
Maybe I could help.
Thanks, but I'll pass on this one.
Okay, moving right along. Oh, how's Holly doing?
Fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's looking fabulous.
Put a whole new wardrobe.
Your wardrobe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope she feels as good as she looks.
No complaints. As a matter of fact, she's busier than I am, having lunch with Celia Quartermain today.
Don't you think that's rather amazing that they knew each other?
Everything about Holly is rather amazing.
Yeah. Does she ever talk about Luke?
No, not often.
I sure bet she thinks about him, though.
A lot, I imagine.
You know, it must be hard for her. I mean, I know how I feel. You know, it just doesn't go away, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I mean, sometimes, you know, I can go days without dwelling on it. And then all of a sudden, something will happen to me, and I will run to the phone so I can call him, or I'll think about stopping by at the store to say hello, and then it dawns on me. He's not there. He's gone. This kind of all comes back over you, you know? You have to relive it again.
Yeah, same with me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so morbid on this.
Let's face it. We miss him.
Yeah. I just can't imagine how Holly feels, though.
Well, I suppose we can be grateful in that she's enough like him to think that life goes on. I frankly didn't think she'd get over losing the baby.
I don't think she would have if it hadn't been for you.
Hey, get your hands off me, Flatfoot.
It's all right, officer. Mr. Baldwin.
You've got stolen property in here.
Tiffany bought the lunch.
Robert, maybe
Oh, wait a minute. Just stay where you are. What do you want?
I'm talking about the papers that you stole out of my safe.
Strong words there, Counselor.
Well, what else would you call it?
Protecting your interests while you're in jail. I had a search warrant, and I was given permission to confiscate them.
Where are they?
Right here. They're all there.
I'll see about that.
You're quite organized, aren't you?
Did you find anything interesting?
Now that you mention it, yes.
Into contracts, are you?
Only when the name Anthony Hand appears on them. Who's doing you? Given your business, Scotty.
Well, why don't you tell me? You read it.
Restaurants, arcades, laundry service. It's all there. All promised to Hand. In other words, the mob.
You're crazy, man.
Yeah? Well, close to the truth. Which is it?
I think you've been watching too much television. I'm taking these with me.
Well, be my guest. I've finished with them.
Good. I'd be careful how you use this information, because a judge might think that you just obtained it illegally.
Judge? A judge, you say? Why would I bother going to a judge with that? Now, the mayor, that's another story.
Well, you ought to just remember who you're messing with, if you do.
And you better remember something too, Scotty. As of right now, I'm going to be watching your little waterfront project closer than ever.
Why? What motivation was that?
What happened? There isn't much to explain. He was connected to an IV.
So what went wrong?
He tried to pull it out.
What? Amy's right. Now, Tolliver was still partially sedated from the surgery, but he attempted to pull out the catheters from his IV.
He expired less than a minute later.
What are you listing as the primary cause of death?
Cardiac arrest. It was simple. His heart simply stopped.
As I said, there isn't much detail. Unless you have some questions.
I do. I'm stunned, of course. But I still have a whole lot of unanswered questions at this point. Could you come over here, please?
Who's that?
That could be your answer.
Well, Celia, what a pleasant surprise this is.
Yes, it is for me, too.
As a matter of fact, Holly mentioned something to the effect that she's meeting you for lunch today.
That's right. At Dino's. Would you like to join us?
Wonderful idea, but I'm afraid not a chance. I have work to do, people to see.
Ah, well, far be it from me to interfere. Excuse me?
Just, would you wait a second?
Yes?
Thanks for bringing my stuff and cleaning it for me. Appreciate it.
Think nothing of it.
Where are they? Who? I'm talking about what, not who. In particular, the documents that Tolliver was blackmailing the Quartermains with.
How should I know?
Because he gave them to you.
Come on, no way.
Come on, pal. You were the last one to see him alive.
So what? That doesn't mean he gave me the papers.
I think he did.
Well, I'll tell you something. He must have known a lot of people. He could have given it to any one of them.
I say, he gave them to you. Now, you going to deny it?
Of course I deny it. How many times do I have to deny it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll come
It's okay, Lulu. I want you to meet the new police commissioner. Lulu, Mr. Scorpio.
Lulu? I'll get back to you later.
Okay.
Why, Mr. Quartermain?
Mrs. Scorpio, I'm sorry to arrive here unannounced, but it's imperative that I see your husband.
He's not here.
Well, do you have any idea where I might find him?
Right at this moment, no, I don't. He's scheduled a press conference, however, so you might try him at his office.
Yes, I did, and he hasn't come there yet. Tell me, do you have any idea what he intends to say at this press conference?
Wouldn't it be better if you asked him that yourself?
Well, I intend to, but, you know, after all, we are all friends.
Are we?
Yes, certainly. And I'm sure if you have any idea of any new evidence that he plans to present, you would be happy to tell me.
Well, I might, but would you believe me?
Well, of course I would believe you. Why would you doubt that?
Well, there was that time at the Versailles room when we met. You called me a con artist and a thief. So why would you believe what I said now?
Yes, well, if I did characterize you in those words, I do apologize. But I hope you understand. I had just suffered some very severe financial reverses, and I was terribly upset. I spoke, I'm afraid, out of the heat of the moment.
Well, we'll let it go at that then, shall we?
Thank you. Now as to what Robert plans to announce at this news conference.
There is one thing that I can tell you.
Well, I'd be very grateful. What?
Well, it's starting any minute now, so really, you're wasting your time here with me.
Well, there's nothing you could tell me?
Only that I have a luncheon date that I really don't want to be late for, so if you don't mind.
Oh, well, I shall try to intercept your husband at the office.
Yes, you do that.
And once again, I do apologize for intruding.
Goodbye, Mr. Quartermain.
Excuse me.
Everybody has been connection between the three of them. Crane, Weber, Quartermain, and family, and the whole deal.
I have a statement to make first. Then I will be happy to answer any of your questions. Now, I've called this conference to clarify the events which led up to the murder of Susan Moore Baldwin. I intend to reveal how she was murdered, but more important, why.
Could there some extortion attempt to tell us about this strange and the other suspects?
What about the other suspects in the case?
All right. Now, I can now establish that Crane Tolliver came to Port Charles for the express purpose of executing an extortion plot on the Quartermain family. To that end, Susan Baldwin became his co-conspirator in that attempt.
What was the plot?
I'd like to know why he picked the Quartermain family as his victim.
Does this mean the Quartermains knew Tolliver when they got here?
Yeah, let me continue. First, I'd like you to bear this point in mind, and that is that Susan Baldwin was the mother of Alan Quartermain's son. Move along. Apparently, while executing this extortion plot, Crane Tolliver and Susan Baldwin had a falling out, whereby he shot her. And later, he admitted his guilt to one Heather Weber. That admission was heard in its entirety by a Port Charles police officer who has a recording of it. Now, Officer Jones here has exact transcripts of Tolliver's confession to Heather Weber. If, we'll just take a few minutes while he passes them out and you can scan them briefly. All right, now if I can conclude this. Crane Tolliver was arrested and then shot while attempting to flee the scene of the crime. He underwent surgery in General Hospital where he later died last night. He made no further statements. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Commissioner. I have a question. Mr. Commissioner, you haven't explained to us why Tolliver chose the Quartermains as his target.
No, I haven't.
Well, in all due respect, sir, but isn't that the key to this story?
The key to this story is Crane Tolliver. And as I've said, he's now dead.
Yes, I know that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about extortion. Now, if what you said is true, there was some kind of connection between Tolliver and the Quartermains. Tolliver must have had something on the Quartermains.
It's a reasonable assumption. But it isn't the reason that I called this conference. Any further questions?
No, sir, you haven't answered the last one. Now, as a member of the press and a citizen of this city, I demand an answer. What was the connection between the Quartermains and this man Tolliver? What did Tolliver have on the Quartermains that enabled him to extort their money?
You know, I still can't believe it. 5 years ago, when we were in school together in Switzerland, I thought that we would never see each other again when we graduated.
Well, I felt the same way, and now here we both are.
And in Port Charles. Switzerland seems a million miles away.
But I mean, in some ways, it is. An awful lot has happened.
Well, a lot has certainly happened to you, Holly. I think Robert is divine. Is he really as sexy as he looks?
Good Lord, Celia, what a question.
No, never mind. I know the answer. It shows.
What?
Haven't you any idea how much you've changed? I mean, it must be your gorgeous husband.
I don't think I've changed that much.
Holly, I have known you since way back when. And you're a very straight-laced kid. I mean, a real Victorian.
Do you really think that?
All the girls in school thought that. Don't misunderstand me. I loved you for it. But look at you now. You practically glow.
Oh, Celia, come on.
No, it's true. And the reason is quite obvious. I'm sure that a good bed partner is good for a girl.
You've been reading too many books.
Oh, no, it's the truth. Now tell me about Robert. How did you two first meet?
Well, I'd known him for a while before we were married.
Did he turn you on right from the first?
Well, I always thought he was very good looking.
Good looking? He's a hunk.
Well, for that matter, so is Grant. I've been waiting to ask you about him.
Ask me what?
Well, what happened? What happened to change your mind? You weren't exactly thrilled about him 5 years ago.
Thrilled? I thought he was a real wimp.
Oh, you didn't?
I certainly did. And then we were apart for a while.
Right, when he was at med school, anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And when I saw him again, somehow he'd changed.
How?
Just, all I know is that he changed a lot. And I just can't account for it.
Well, you're obviously happy, and I'm very glad for you.
I'm very happy for you, too. You've not only got an incredible husband, but I hear you also have a divine house.
Yes, well, I've worked very hard on it.
You were always very good at that. Did you decorate it yourself?
Yes, I did, and I really love doing it, you know. We've got some nice antiques now, and we just got a pretty good stereo system.
I'll bet that's Robert's pride and joy.
Yeah, well, it's fairly elaborate, but we both really love it. You know, I'd really like it if you could come over and see it now that it's just about finished.
I'm dying to. Have you had your first party yet?
Well, no, I was waiting till everything was in place.
Oh, well, then I have a brilliant idea. You can have a housewarming, a cocktail party.
That would be very nice someday.
Someday? What do you mean? You can have it tomorrow.
Oh, are you kidding? Tomorrow?
Yes, why not? I'll help you. A good party's a breeze when you put your mind to it. Waiter. Waiter, we'd like some more wine, please. And then would you bring me the local phone book? Yes, the classified pages. Yellow.
Well, what do you want with the classified pages?
Well, to get the caterer, of course. Oh, Holly, this is so much fun already.
I don't know. I mean, I really think I should ask Robert first.
Oh, nonsense. He'll be as excited as we are. Now, when we make up the guest list, you must invite that Jimmy Lee, what's his name?
Holt.
Yes, that's it. Jimmy Lee Holt. I think he's darling. And then we'll need a good florist. You must know a good florist.
Do you know, as a matter of fact, I do. He specializes in party. I'll invite him over to the house. He can check out the color scheme and, what are you smiling at?
You. You're getting into the spirit of this, aren't you?
Yeah, I really am, actually. You're very good for me, Celia. Thank you. This is fun.
Mr. Commissioner, that doesn't answer my question, sir.
I don't have the answer.
You mean to tell me that throughout your investigation, your questioning of Tolliver, other suspects, the relatives, that you never learned the details of the extortion?
That's correct.
Well, Mr. Commissioner, would you happen to know who does have those answers, sir?
No, I don't. However, you may try asking someone who is present in this room.
Who's that, sir?
He's standing at the rear over there. Mr. Edward Quartermain.
Mr.
Oh, Robert, I'm glad you're in. How did the press conference go?
Oh, it's over. Did you watch it on TV?
No, I wanted to, but I was out. I had lunch with Celia. Was it really rough?
I swear the local press corps have to be descended from vultures. However, I got through it. How was lunch?
It was fun. We talked about school for hours, and we finally caught up on everything. I think we're back on the same wavelength we always were.
Celia is indeed quite a girl.
She is. I'd forgotten how enthusiastic she can be about everything. Oh, that reminds me. We talked about throwing a party, a housewarming.
Oh, whose housewarming?
Ours. I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all. I think it's a wonderful idea. When were you thinking of giving it?
Tomorrow, actually.
Holly, isn't this a little sudden?
Well, that's what I thought at first, but as Celia said, it's those last-minute parties that always work out the best.
Okay, well, what are we talking about here? A few friends?
Well, perhaps a few more.
You've got to get all this done by tomorrow night. Now, that's a lot of work. Can you do it?
Are you kidding? You haven't seen Celia once she gets going. I mean, we were right in the restaurant. She's calling the caterer and the florist. Are you sure you don't mind?
No, not at all. Hell, that's a great idea. It's about time we had a bit of fun around here. Yes, it's great. Who are you asking?
Well, that is my department. All you have to do tomorrow night is open the door, be surprised, and have a ball.
Well, almost ready?
Oh, I'm never going to get everything done.
Well, don't be upset. I mean, it's just a party. There's just a few friends coming.
Upset? I'm thrilled.
About being late?
It's about the party, our party. It's just what I need.
I'm glad.
It's so exciting. It's just like the old days. It's been a long time since I felt that the world was mine for the taking. But tonight I intend to enjoy myself.
Well, dressed like that, you may have an itty-bitty problem.
You wait till you see what I'm going to be wearing.
Well, you better move yourself and get changed. They're due here any minute.
Okay, you keep them entertained
I
for
will.
me for a while, because I might be while changing.
Okay.
And try one of the canopies. They're really delicious.
Wonderful.
Oh, so this is a place I've heard so much about.
It's really impressive, Commissioner.
Well, we like it. Anyway, we have hors d'oeuvres to the left, and we have drinks a tad to the right.
Where's Holly?
Well, upstairs, I suppose. I'm expecting her any minute.
Well, then we'll just help ourselves, if that's all right
Tonight
with you.
is strictly self-serve. Enjoy.
Thank you. I'm sure we will.
Hello.
I'm so glad you could make it.
I wouldn't have missed it for all the diamonds, my dear.
What an honor. Hello, Bobby.
Hello, Robert. Where is Holly?
Still getting ready, I expect. Shouldn't be too much longer. But I suppose it is one of the prerogatives of a woman.
No, dear, it is a necessity, an absolute requirement, actually. It takes time to look good.
Not for my wife, it doesn't. Now, move on down, have fun. The bar is where you see it. Food, etc. Well.
Well, evening, Commissioner.
I'm glad you could make it. Thank you.
We're early. Oh, gosh. I told you we should have been around a while longer.
You kidding. You couldn't wait to get here.
Well, I have been looking forward to this party.
I'll say. She hasn't stopped talking about it all day.
Really?
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Hey, as I understand it, you're partly responsible for all of this. I should be thanking you.
Well, wait and see how it goes.
All right.
The Quartermains asked me to convey their apologies with all that's happened.
Yeah, well, I can't blame them. I don't think I really was expecting to start with.
No, they're not in much of a partying mood these days.
Yeah, well, I suppose I can understand that. But listen, I hope you're going to enjoy yourselves.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure we will.
Good. Hello there, Your Honor.
Hello, Commissioner. You remember my wife, of course?
Mrs. Everett, how are you?
Fine, thank you. What a lovely place. So tastefully decorated. Who is your designer?
The credit goes to my wife. Me, I don't have much of an eye for interior decorating.
But he has a nose for criminals. Congratulations on solving the... Well, good to see you. Come on in.
It seems like quite a party.
I hope so. I sure need one.
You seem pretty anxious to get here tonight.
Oh, gosh, I think desperate's a better word.
Why?
Hello, you two.
Hi. Well, hello, Steve. Hello, Audrey. How you doing? Where's Rick?
Rick who?
Rick, your husband who?
The workaholic, yes. Well, it's a very sad story. The poor man simply does not know how to have a good time. He's too busy, and the sad thing is he doesn't even know what he's missing. Oh, goody, champagne.
What's with her?
What is the matter with you?
What?
1 minute you're dying to get here, the next you seem bored to death. Aren't you having a good time?
Of course I am.
Are you looking for someone?
No.
It certainly seems like it.
Well, I was just wondering where Holly is. I think I'll go find her. Hello, Doctor.
Miss Spencer, you look lovely tonight. Far too good to be alone.
What's your excuse?
For being alone? Actually, I'm not, or at least I wasn't until a minute ago.
Something you said?
You've got me. I cannot figure Celia out.
Well, maybe she wants you to go after her.
You think so?
Some women like to be chased. But then again, some women like to get away. And me?
Which are you?
Depends on who the hunter is.
He's a great surgeon.
Well,
never...
Robert, don't you think it's rather rude that the hostess keeps everyone waiting at her own party?
you should know.
I love the strategy. It's one of my favorite. I love to make grand entrances.
Well, as a matter of fact, I've been thinking of slipping upstairs to see what's keeping her.
Well, you don't have to. You can see her from here.
Oh, Holly. Oh, what a beautiful.
Hello.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you could make it.
Thanks for inviting us. Sorry. Holly, your home is just beautiful.
It really is. You've done quite a job with this. It was fun. Now, can I get you anything?
No, thanks. We'll fend for ourselves. Here's Leslie.
Okay, let's go. Hey, Ruby. Hi. Well, the kid is a mathematical genius. He cannot speak English to save his soul, but he is brilliant. Top student in his class. Hi.
Hey.
Well, I guess you ran out of work to keep you busy. Pity. Pity. The man who was forced to have a good time. Or maybe it's just that you actually prefer what you call your more intimate gatherings. Hi there.
Well, look who it is. It's Doc Weber.
How you doing, Leslie? Oh, just grand. Thank you. Good, champagne.
Is it?
This is all my
Sorry.
fault, Rick.
It is not your fault. It has
No,
nothing
I
to
should never have come.
Let's explore this beautiful home, all right? If I had known the police commissioner was doing so well, I think I would have gone into law enforcement myself.
We'll take care of that. That was quite an appearance you made. Well, I really didn't mean to court with your star.
You did exactly as you intended. I ought to know that move. I invented it.
That's probably where I learned it.
Well, you made some impression. I'm just sorry that not everybody was around to see it. I suppose some people had to turn down the invitation.
A few declined, yes. The Quartermains, of course.
Who else?
Why? Were you expecting someone?
Excuse me, Holly. You know, Steve and I were just talking about how fortunate you are to have such a good friend in Celia. Not many would go to the trouble to set up such a lovely party as this.
What? What could I do without her?
Yes, we do think you're lucky. Excuse us, would you please? Want to speak to Dan? Thanks.
Are you up to your... Before this evening is over, you're going to tell me what that was all about.
Can you tell me which way the powder room would be?
It's right through there, just past Robert's office.
Thank you. Now, if I can just find my purse.
That looks very tasty.
Have one.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of taking your last one.
Oh, I would. Oh, that's delicious.
Worth going to get a plate for?
Certainly is. Excuse us, will you?
Always in a good cause.
Speaking of that, I could use a second glass of wine.
I'm right behind you.
Rick, it's just that... If I just wasn't so alone all the time...
Rose, you are not alone.
Rick, you don't...
Well, that's very, very kind of you, Mr. Mayor.
I learned the hard way to appreciate a good staff, support at all levels. And you, my dear, are a perfect example. I can't imagine a public official having a more perfect wife.
Where have you been?
Been right here.
Well, I've been looking all over for you. Let's go home.
Let's go. It's too early.
Honey, please.
What happened?
Nothing. I think the party's gotten a little out of hand.
All I could do was some excitement.
Well, I've had enough.
I don't understand.
Let me explain later. Let's just go home. Yeah.
It's a little too much champagne, a little too quick.
Yeah, that must have been it.
One of those things, right?
Right. Happens all the time.
Especially at parties.
I appreciate you trying to cheer me out.
We'll have Rose anytime.
Hi there.
Hi.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Been looking for you.
Well, we've just been exploring the house.
Oh, really?
Aren't the bedrooms lovely? Mark, would you mind giving me a ride home? I'm still not feeling very well.
Is that a fact?
Minding you go out there.
Well, since you decided to come after all, you're feeling fine.
I just can't seem to shake it.
Sorts of idiots on the road.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Mark,
Bye.
I think we ought to go too.
Go. I'm stopping you.
I would like you to come with me.
Why? We didn't arrive together. Why do we have to leave that way?
I'm sorry, Leslie. I got tied up. I'm really sorry.
I noticed.
Look, it is not important who you come with. It's who you go with. Now, please come home with me.
I know. I didn't marry her.
Well, I guess I'm not going to get a better offer.
Not as long as I'm here.
Oh, you're leaving so soon?
It's getting kind of late.
Yeah,
We'll
past
walk
our
you to
Betty
the
by
car.
time.
Well, I thought the party was just about getting started.
Well,
Well, no, for this group, it's sort of cooling down. We'll see you around.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, we'll have lunch.
Nice.
If I didn't know better, I would think that she's on her way.
Well, you don't know better because I say she definitely is. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't take me too much more myself.
Well, come on, I'll buy you a glass of ginger ale.
What about that dinner you promised me?
Doesn't your fiancé cook?
I seriously doubt it. Besides, just because I'm engaged doesn't mean I wouldn't enjoy a nice home-cooked meal.
Well, I think we ought to speak to Celia about that. I thought you'd left me here.
Well, hello, darling. We were just speaking of you.
Well, I've had about as much of that for one evening as I can stand. Will you please take me home?
But you're supposed to be the...
Now.
Would you excuse us for a minute?
I already have.
Oh, sorry. No, don't be, please. That's the closest I've come to being picked up all night.
I know the feeling.
I certainly hope it's the party and not me.
Well, if it's not, I think we're both in trouble. Would you like to share a cab home?
I think the sooner the better.
Let's go.
Yes.
What is with you tonight?
Grant, I do wish you'd stop interrogating me every time I make a simple request.
Oh, with you, nothing is simple.
Are you complaining?
No, but I am confused. You were so looking forward to this party. Now we've just barely gotten here, and you can't wait to leave.
Barely gotten here. We've been mingling for hours. At least it seems like it. This party is plain boring.
Yeah, not what I saw of it.
Oh? Well, how nice for you. Well, then I'll just fetch my own wrap and leave by myself. There's no reason to interrupt your evening.
Oh. You stay here. I'll be right back with your coat.
Right. Thank you so very much for a lovely evening, but we've got to get going.
So soon?
And without you telling me what I did for you earlier on?
What's that?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
It'll have to wait. I'm so dreadfully tired. Well, let's just
Excuse me. Here you are, darling.
Oh, thank you.
Enjoyed it, Commissioner. Love to stay, but...
I understand.
Thanks for having us.
Well, now that you know where we are, you must come again.
Oh, you can count on that. No reason we shouldn't see more of one another now
Gran,
that... His master's voice.
I'm afraid if I don't go home right now, I'm just going to pass out on the spot. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. I can just barely... You know, this is silly. All I probably need is just to sit down for a little bit. You go ahead and have a good time. Don't worry, I'll be fine.
Well,